What's going on, everybody? Hey, listen. If you, I got. Let me pause for a second. You know what? I already have something else going on the other side, so I can hear me twice. Can't have that going on. So I am going to bring the man of the hour here, and then while he's going, I'm gonna go and move to turn my other computer off so that way you don't hear me twice. So coming to the stage, nothing other than the legacy himself. You ready? Always ready. Come on
I'm
in
always
here.
ready.
Come in here.
What's going on? I'm always ready.
What's going on? I know. Now I'm gonna step to the side for a second. I am going to just listen. Tell everybody who you are. Just tell them who you are.
Well, I guess I could probably say it in a nutshell. My name is City Legacy, born and raised in Philadelphia, the Albany section of Philly. Graduated from Roxborough, class of '02. Shout out to Roxborough. I went to Cheney, class of '07. Majored in business, and the birth of the legacy began right after I got out of college. Right, just trying to figure out who I wanted to be. Right, everybody had these dreams. Right, so I was just trying to tap into the ideal vision of what God wanted me to be. And in one moment, God put me in a perspective of having me to get back into the love of inventing and building people's mindsets. So I've been chasing that vision ever since 2009. But now I'm excited. I'm a patent inventor. I'm an author, board game designer, founder of a magazine called Black Innovation. And my whole goal is to uplift and to really expose the Black and Brown inventors and innovators of the world, along with really igniting and really activating the children for the future. So hopefully that was in a nutshell what I do.
Sounds good. Thank you. Perfect timing. See, this is what we gotta do, right? Listen. We got Shirley. Hey, what's going on, Shirley? She coming in the room saying what's going on. Hey,
What's going on?
so wait a minute. So are we?
That's powerhouse in the building. See, you got yeah, it was powerhouse right there.
Absolutely. So, listen, him. The question is, who's him? That's the number one question that people have been asking. Who's him?
Who's him?
Yeah, who's him? Do you know?
I got a little concept. I mean, like you break down the acronym. Like I've been trying to find out who he was half my life. No, seriously. I mean, when you realize something, see, most people probably can't admit it, but they're like half their life they was living somebody else's dream, somebody else's mission, right? So I think at that time you try to still find out who you are.
Yeah.
You become not the follower no more, but you design yourself to be that leader.
You follow, designing, trying to be that leader. Man, that's another note pen. I need to have. If you guys don't have your notebook, like I'm trying to tell you, whenever Steve gets on, you gotta have one of these ready, right? Because he gonna drop some serious nuggets, right, Miss Powerhouse? Drop some serious nuggets on us.
And it come from the heart, so you gotta catch that stuff. Don't ask me to repeat. You're gonna play, have to hit the replay after this one, because I'm telling you,
listen, I know I always have to hit replay, and I gotta listen back to it. I'm like, what just happened? Because it's a whole nother realm that takes place. It has nothing to do with me. But we're here because this is, like I said, the 20 days of him. We kicked off January 11th to announce to the world HIMStory. HIMStory. And this is following the predecessor of none other than
Her Story.
Her Story.
Her Story.
Shout out to all my ladies, all the Her Story ladies. I don't know if any of them are on here tonight, but I am her, you are her, we are her. We're all her. Even you, Steve, even you are her. Because her stands for being healed, empowered, and resilient. Because when you can become healed from whatever your past may have been and whatever it is you had to deal with, you become empowered when you take the time to go within. And then from that point forward, then now you're resilient. Because now anything else that comes your way, because stuff is going to continuously have, it's like a roller coaster. You've been to Great Adventure, you get on, see those roller coasters, they go up and down and around and all over the place, and they go in between each other, and then they start here and they go all the way up. That's our life. It's a ride, but guess what?
Mhm.
It also goes fast too. As soon as it come
Well,
up, comes right back down. So listen, this is definitely a whirlwind. It is a roller coaster ride. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. That's an oxymoron, isn't it? Right there. I just said it goes fast, but we all know marathons take a while. But when you do get there, when it's time to get to the finish line, what do? Then they sprint.
yeah, it's up to get into that last is the home stretch, right?
They get into that home stretch, right? Until the next one, because there are always going to be a next one. They're going to do another marathon. You never heard of anyone people who continuously do marathons. They don't just do one. Even if you do an Ironman, they have to prepare to do basically three different little mini marathons. They got to run, they got to bike, and they got to swim. That's that's not me.
Yeah. I used to do cross country, and the biggest challenge with that is that pacing yourself. When I first ran cross country in high school, we was forced to do it, but we didn't know how to balance our energy. So when that gun shut off at Belmont Plateau, and we out there rocking, we didn't know that first hill is a doozy. From a distance, it didn't look like a hill. But once you got to that hill, you hear all the heavy breathing, everybody already out of gas. We didn't even get into the woods yet.
And that's where, that's where men are made, right?
Yeah.
That separates everybody when you get back in the woods. But listen. So, we got this thing with, like I said, her story, and now these amazing men, HIMStory. But let's just break down how this thing kind of got started a little bit. Last year, it's not last year, the year before. I don't even know what time it is, what day it is, what year it is. 2023 already, right? It's crazy.
I'm still stuck in 2019, so I don't care how many years come after that.
Exactly. I don't know. 2020, what? What's that, huh? So back then, we did my conference. We did the Celebrating You Women's Conference virtually. It was amazing. It was called The Assignment. And one of the assignments was this amazing panel that you were on called WMP. No, what is it called? Men Don't Talk. Okay, I was trying to do the initials and I got the initials all wrong. I'm like, that don't sound right. I think I was getting ready to talk about an MDX or something. I don't know. I made me think about a car. Listen, that was so powerful. That panel was just remarkable, and you took place in that panel, and you guys really shared some valuable information that I don't think you guys realized how much it meant to the people who watched it at that time, men and women. And so then here we are, fast forward, I'm in the process of doing her story. And then it just kind of hit me like a whirlwind. And it was like, yeah, no, it has to be HIMStory, and it has to be all of you. And when I approached you, I don't know what it was, when I approached you about it, you were just like, okay. You probably had no clue what it was really going to be like. Neither did I, right? I you just have to just trust the process. So what was those two different experiences like for you? One, being on that panel, and then two, to just go through this process of being in this project.
I think the first time, and it's funny. So what? That was 2021. That's crazy, right? So,
yeah. I'm trying to remember when was it?
I think, so for me to have the opportunity to be on a panel with the brethren, I'm calling the brethren, it was a great experience, because I think first time in a while able to express what really was on a heart without being interrupted, without being interrupted, and allowing us to really showcase exactly what is really going on in this mind of ours, right? So to have the floor, to have the opportunity, to have the voice, it was a great experience. So then, I've said, you just like me, Carolyn, you're intentional. So you're like, I'm going to do this thing for him. And at the time, there was no cover design. I don't think it was cover design. I didn't see the cover design. I don't think the book concept was all together yet, but you were saying it's coming, it's coming. So my thing was like, well, it's coming, so just be ready. And that's what I'm glad to have the opportunity to be ready and have the opportunity to be able to share my story and hopefully bless someone else, because stories are not about, well, it's about us, but it really is to help heal others, the ones that may can't speak up right now, the ones that may want to share but just feel too ashamed of sharing the deep dark secrets about the different trials and adversity in life. But I think once you go through this process, you start to not only experience the healing, but also start to really understand the impact.
That part right there, understanding the impact. So the impact, when, yeah, that is so key, because you're right. That was an opportunity for you guys to be able to just share. And it was, like I said, I know for myself personally, I was really taken back that it really, you guys all opened up, and the dynamics of the panel and everything was intentional. So you're right, there was an intention behind it. There was different walks of life, even though all the brethrens, right? All of you had a different, I guess you want to call status, right? But your experiences, your the way you move, the way you think, the way you are was unanimous. Like, that's the part that was like, what? So it wasn't that just other men could, like you said, can hear from you and be like, yeah, that's me, because you guys were like bouncing off of each other, like, yeah, I feel that too. But then even women who were watching it, whether they were married, single, whatever the case may be, they were like, wow, I just learned something. Right. So it was a very teachable moment, even to the point where it was duplicated on another platform. And then who did it? Maxie, and she did it. She had a couple of the guys on there, and she did a whole panel with it. So here we go.
You started a trend. You got to trademark that thing. You started a trend with that, right? So.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then I start noticing it other places as well, and I'm like, wait a minute, because I was already in the process of doing her, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wait a minute, her needs him, and him needs her. You can't have one without the other. It's the balance between the two. And like I had, once again, very intentional, because I do know that, like I said, we have this myth that men don't talk. First and foremost, got to back up. Wasn't my idea. I'm gonna tell you where the idea came from. So the idea came from Melissa Morgan. Shout out to Melissa. She's out there at the Grammys right now. When I had her at my conference at the Sugar House, and we had breakfast the next day, and we were just chatting, just talking, and I don't know where it even came from, but she just was like, yeah, you need to do Men Don't Talk. Yeah, because sometimes they don't talk. You need to do a whole panel on and a whole conference on that. She's like, I'm giving that one to you. And I was like, okay, Melissa. But it was something that I still thought about. And as I'm starting to see all the different stuff, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to do a whole conference on it, because I don't do stuff with men. I do stuff with women, right?
Yeah.
But I can have a segment. I can have a panel on it. Yeah, sure. Let's just do a panel. Little did I know what that panel was going to do. That panel was only supposed to have been, like a 20, 30-minute panel. I think you guys was on for like an hour and a half, almost.
Yeah. I think I had to pull the plug. I had to pull the plug.
That thing was, they were talking about it and still talking about it. And then here it comes again. We did it again in person and you weren't able to be in person at the conference. Once again, that was, people were waiting for it. It's like, okay, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm waiting for this Men Don't Talk panel. Like, that was like the talk of the town, right? It was juicier than Wendy Williams' Hot Topics, okay? Because people wanted to know what you talking about. And then the perfect person that I had to moderate it was Masanya with I Am a Lady, because she was able to just handle you guys with like grace and care, and it was like you said, you guys were able to just open up safely. I don't know, you about to say something. So I'll be
no, I was agreeing with you. I mean,
yeah.
So that we didn't feel like there was any. We didn't have to muzzle ourselves.
No. And it was like, one of the things I think I remember what you said. See, because I remember what everyone said. Like, so you had made a point that you said, when you come home, you just got to digress. You just have to come home and just kind of sit there for a second. You can't just come right home and just start talking and unpulling your day like with the person that you're with. They just want to start talking. And so I think you're talking about the time when you were married. And it was like, I just got to like peel back the layer for a second and kind of process what this went through today, how I even got home, all the stuff I had to deal with. And now, as soon as I come in the house, you're right there in my face, and now you're talking. You want me the answers of it. I got to think about it. Like, that's what something all of you guys said. Like, we want answers now, but all of you unanimously said we can't give you an answer right then and there. We got to think about it. And you might get the answer by the time we get the answer, we done probably forgot that we asked you the question, but it may be a day or two later. It may take a few days. I think it was like almost 3 days. I think that was the synopsis. I think everyone said it was like almost up to 3 days. It may take you to even respond to something that we asked before.
I mean, because I think the reason why is because the way how we all think differently. I think from an emotional standpoint of things, and I'm learning that. But mainly, it's like we just process information differently. And there's a such thing called a nothing box. So if I'm quiet, it's because I'm just quiet and there's nothing there. There's nothing. Like, we don't feel everything, We are human, but we don't feel. And yeah, it's just amazing. It's amazing. But I think as you grow, it's a nothing box. I mean, you could be in deep thought, and I tell you, if they was able to lift up our head and try to see what's going on in there, and I swear there'd be nothing. There'd be nothing going on. There's nothing going on in there. Now, women, it's like rush hour, highways and byways and things like that. We still at the lake, and nothing is not biting on the water, and we don't even know what we're doing. It's just like, wait, what's going on? And we cool. We cool. We
cool. So I don't know. I know some people have been on. I want them to say where they're from, say hello, give us a shout out so we can give you a shout out. But so like I said, we got Shirley. She's the powerhouse on there with us. And so listen, yeah, you're right. This thing it's a thing. And this goes to, when you talk about being an inventor, right? So this is still inventing in a different realm. So it's because when you get a download of something, you just, even though you may not have the whole blueprint, but you get something, you get this, it's literally a download. And you're like, okay. And it's like, I don't worry about the hows and all the other pieces. I just know that this is what the picture is going to be. And then, okay, so now we extract from here, we get from here. It's like baking a cake or making something. You have to have all these different ingredients, and you get them at different times and different places, different locations in the market, right? They're on different shelves. They're not even in the same area. You have to go around to go find everything that you need. So all I know is that the end result was going to be a book. It was going to be HIMStory. Not his story, but HIMStory, right? I already knew that. I already knew what the cover looked like. It was already designed before you got. It was already designed. Already designed. All it needed was all the ingredients. So that meant I had to go around the supermarket, right, and go down all the aisles, go down the proper aisles. I knew exactly the certain ingredients I needed to get, and those were the men from the Men Don't Talk panel, the original 6. That's it. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, but wait a minute. You know what? We can add this into it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this now we can add this into. So now it's turned into not just the original 6, which is amazing because now here's the thing. The beauty of what this is going to do, and so for people who don't know what we're talking about, they're like, what? If you haven't seen Steve posted or me posted, I don't know where y'all been. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm gonna show you. Let me show you something. My Fire Marshal Bill voice. Let me show you something. This thing right here, HIMStory. Being honorable, intelligent, and mature. Listen, when I tell you, even like you said, the way the book is designed, and it's the essence of a man and the weight of the world on their shoulder. And so you guys are going to learn, when I'm saying you guys in general, right? This book is a book for men, it's a book for women, it's a book for all. Because here's the thing, without you guys, there's no us. And if you're not whole and if you're not able to have that space, then it doesn't matter how healed we get, right?
Yeah.
It don't matter about her. Oh, see, look at that. That's so nice. Look at that. See, because we gotta do this together, right? And so right here, and this is intentional too, right? So watch this. I don't have it yet, but right now, watch this. We're covering you. You got her story right here. You got him story in the middle. And then on the other side, you will have her story too. So because we have to uplift and we have to support our men, because that's our backbone, you guys. It's a whole polarity. It's the yin and the yang. You can't have one without the other. It's balance. It's balance. It's balance. It's balance. And once we understand that, that's the key word, understanding. That's why the whole myth about men don't talk, because we as women, we don't listen. We just talk. Right. And so, and then we're like, but you don't hear me. But they already tuned out because we didn't hear them. And that's something that, when you have you have this understanding, that's the key word, understanding, then the conversation and the communication will improve. So the communication, we think that, okay, when we hear about, like relationships, any kind of relationship, right? It could be platonic, romantic, work, school, whatever. The garbage man, I don't know. So, right? It's like, okay, I have to be heard. I have to be heard. I have to be heard. I gotta say what I gotta say. I gotta use my voice. Yes, you do. You do have to use your voice. However, just talking doesn't mean that you're being heard. And if you're not being heard, you're not being understood. So if you're not being understood, then you can't be responded to properly. You can't get the answers that you need, or you can't get guided in the right direction for whatever it is that you're talking about, because you're just talking to be talking. And now when you're not heard, now you get frustrated. And that happens on both ends. That's why, one of the common themes that I heard you guys say is that if you don't feel heard, you shut down. And then like you said, then you go into that land of nowhere, that nothing box. I know my son's father, he would go into this whole thing. It's really funny. I think it's funny. He'll get into something with our son, and if my son is going and say, but dad, you know how we gotta be with our parents, right? And so my son will go, but dad, and then he'll go, I'm almost there. And so then all of a sudden my son's like, almost there. He's like, yep, that exit is coming. My son's like, what are you talking about? Yep. The land of I don't care. like he's giving him a warning, like, I'm about to tune you out. And so I think that's hilarious, right? I never really understood what that meant. That meant, really, now that I'm thinking about it, it's because he was giving him forewarning, like, okay, now I'm not even listening to you anymore. So if I'm not listening to you, then now you're not going to be able to get a result to your question or to whatever it is you're talking about, because I'm not listening. I'm not retaining it. I'm not processing it. I'm in my nothing box space. right? So I don't know how true that is on your end as well. Like if it gets to a place where you're not being heard, then it's almost like you hear the thing. Well, what's the point?
No, you're right about that.
Well, what's the point? So I see. Oh, Bev got on here. She's like, yes. I always got Bev on here. Hype. Listen, listen. It was so dope listening to you the other on Friday. Was it Friday or Saturday? Saturday on WBNC.
Saturday.
Yeah, so WBNC Breaking Chains. Listen, it was so funny because I was like, oh, he done woke up because you were like, yeah, it was early in the morning. So you was like, yeah. Then you just
No,
started.
see, no, because Maria was saying the same thing, right? But no, you should see how laid back Bevan. I was matching their energy at first. You know, y'all used to be always trying to be all hype. I was just matching the energy at the time.
Yeah,
so
right.
it was just laid. I was like, hey. But then, once I got activated, then,
Yeah, that's what you talking about. He's like, yeah, Carolyn says, it's like, well, you get plugged in, activate. I was like, here we go. Like, oh, like, ching, ching, ching. There goes Steve. There goes Steve. Look, Bev's like, stop it. Just stop it. Just stop it. So being activated. So, so him, your chapter is the legacy within. I mean, like you just have this whole legacy. Like you're just the legacy. Like that is your name. You don't even have a name anymore. Like your name is Steve the Legacy. That is your name. I remember.
I get offended when they mention my last name. Isn't that something?
Really?
Remember what Dr. Kelly? I get so because it's like, nah, it's the legacy. It's the legacy. It's the legacy. But
what's your last name?
The Legacy.
The Legacy.
And then it's funny. Maria's son thought that was my last name. I said, you know what? I mess around and make it probably change it to my last name.
Yeah, because that's what you are now. Steve, middle name the, last name Legacy.
Yeah. That'd be funny. That'd be fun.
Because your the is capitalized. They keep wanting to change it to a lowercase. Like, no, that's his whole name. That's your name. Steve the Legacy. Listen, if no one else is gonna make it happen, you're gonna make it happen. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad. We wait for no one. What you said, one of the things you always say is you don't ask for permission, you apologize later.
Maria was like this. How you get your face and stuff on Carolyn's? Hey, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
No, it's gonna be happy. I've been doing this thing since I met her. We just want to get the word out there like that. All right. So look, we want to make sure she has something big and name big. We're gonna make sure everything's straight. Don't worry about it.
So good.
You gotta get that hypeness up. You gotta get. See, I wanted. My whole thing is like I always want to know what's happening next, right? Sometimes words don't just do enough for you, right? Sometimes you gotta have information. Why do you think short videos so popular now? People want to see movement. They want to see excitement. Like you do a video.
All those short videos too.
Like a video at the Eagles field. I was like, dang, I wish I was there. It looks so like inviting, right? So pumped up.
Yeah, I got mad footage for that.
LES Eagles. Shout out to the Eagles. I'll tell you, man. Yeah, that's what's up.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah, see?
The kickoff.
I was like this. Wait, ain't no game today. What were they doing out there? And then I had to find out exactly what y'all was doing. I'm like, wait, is the game today?
It was a send off. We were sending them off. They were literally about to leave to go get on the plane. So it was a pep rally to send them off. And listen, sometimes you have to do the things that you normally wouldn't do. And we were talking backstage. I love the Eagles, but only in the summertime, not in the wintertime.
Yeah, that's the downward fan right there.
But it was like, when is this going to happen again? Or when am I going to have this opportunity? And it was just basically presented to me because I was actually going to the tickets that I got. Shout out to Arnita for blessing us with the tickets, and she was like, "Do you know anyone?" I was like, "Oh yeah, sure." So I'm thinking of people I can just refer it to, and then all of a sudden it was like, "Duh." See if your daughter want to go, because when you're doing this stuff, the same thing I see you, try to balance the time with Layla, and then also with Ricky, and then your mommy, you gotta be all over the place, right? You gotta have sometimes it's all in one. I see your mom out there skating. Go ahead. I see her out there doing her thing. right? So, you know, you have to find something. I'm like, you know what? Let me just ask her if she wants to go, and she said yes. And I'm like, all right, looks like we're going. And so I got hyped just because I'm like, I'm about to go do something crazy. I'm about to go and be outside early in the morning in freezing weather because it was cold.
I bet it was.
It was cold, but then it warmed up. Well, I don't know if it warmed up or if I was warmed up because I had like umpteen thousand layers on. But it was the amazing, it was the best experience. And I'm glad that I did go. And like, that's what we were talking about before. Sometimes we, you know, we let fear or the thing of unknown, or because it's not our norm, to allow us to miss out on opportunities that we would never have known. And you never know what other door that'll open up to, right? Because now that I've done that, hey, what's next, right?
What's that?
What's next? Here we go. Her story. And then, hey, now there's him story. Oh, and then her story too. So it's always like you don't know what's going to be behind the other door. I'm going to always go through the door. I'm going to go through the door, and I'm always going to bet on me. Every time. They say bet on black. I'm going to bet on Carolyn. I'm going to bet on Carolyn.
I do the same type of method like that because, you know, nobody can stop you, right? And when you are a creator, right, nothing can stop the function of creation, right? And that's the whole thing. So,
man, that creative bug.
It's exciting.
When you
I can see a HIMStory part 2. It's a continuation.
Oh, it's already
I can see a documentary. I can see.
Listen, these words have already been spoken. These thoughts have already been thought. These things have already been written down. I just allowing the universe, I'm giving the universe permission to align everything up. Everything is about alignment. So with all of that, with the alignment, I mean, there are so many different blessings in this whole process. Like I said, we're about to hit February 11th, which is Saturday. It is available. Yes. Yes. February 11th. Oh, y'all like, what's available? I'm gonna tell you what's available. If you don't know, now you know. I didn't put this on, but here we go. Right there on the bottom corner, right there by Steve. You know, but here's the caveat. I need all of you that's watching right now, and whenever you want to watch this, to go to bit.ly/HIMStory Anthology, or you can also go to himstory.eventbrite.com to join us on Saturday and Sunday. I know it's Super Bowl Sunday, I know, but we're going to do it early and get it out the way. But we're just going to celebrate with these kings who have just literally bared their innermost thoughts, their souls, literally. And it's been freeing. And this is what I've been hearing from all of you that have joined in on this movement, right? This HIMStory movement. But in the process, so now how about this? Like, you know, you guys, if you haven't seen it, you know, then you see, you've been seeing this around. Like there's Steve right there, right? Boom, book launch, you know, it's happening this weekend, February 11th and 12th. But I need you to go right there, go there and get this thing for 99 cents. It's only, I know you want the physical book. I know. But this is what we're asking you. These guys, when I tell you these guys are already bestsellers, this thing has been on the market for the pre-order for the past few weeks now, and they have already made bestsellers. So they are best-selling authors already, and the book isn't even out yet. Best-selling authors. But let me tell you how close they are. See that? 3. Only need 2 more spots, y'all. They got to get to number 1. Let's help them become number 1. Okay? Let's help them become number 1. So you guys have already helped them by getting them. So here, listen, this is the other thing that's trippy. I was talking with Dave the other day. He was my feature the other day. And behind the scenes, you know, we all talked before this even transpired. And, you know, one of the things that we talked about, even when we had our meetings, I said, listen, I want the purpose behind all of this is like, listen, you guys, especially after hearing you with the Men Don't Talk and allowing this safe space for you to reveal and to talk and to open up so you could be heard. So not only allowing you to be heard, but for you to be seen. And then when you're being seen, then you're respected, because the world looks at you, especially the ones of, our men of color. You're not seen, heard, or respected. Period. 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 By no one, by everyone, by the media, by the world, by women, even by other men. See, but because of whatever society has put on us to make you guys just stay to yourself, not share what really matters. Because here's the thing, ladies, let me tell you, if you just stop and let them talk, you'd be surprised. They open up. I mean, open up, but it's only when they feel safe. I'm gonna repeat that. Only when they feel safe. Because you have to feel safe in order to be able. So it goes vice versa. It's like it's an exchange of energy. Once again, here's that yin and that yang. It's that mass. I think we talked about, this masculine and feminine energy. It's a polarity. You can't both be operating in the same space. You're going to repel. You ever have a magnet? And you ever used to play with magnets and it'd be like you feel that tension? It would be like you trying to put it together, and it's like nope, and it's like nope until you turn it around, then it just sticks, because it's the opposite. How they say, 2 steps forwards, 3 steps back, opposites attract, right? Paul Abdul said it best with the little cartoon. That's our energy. That's literally what this is. So that's why I said you can't have him without her, and you can't have her without him. And I am him, and Steve is her. And y'all probably like, what? Seriously. And just like Steve is him, and I am her. I'm both, and he's both. But in order, for us to be able to communicate, we have to be on different spectrums in order to get to that common space where it was like, okay, now this is meshing. Now this is making sense. Now this is fire. Okay, this is good. This is on fire. So it's like, okay, I must have said something that, because you're like, really now? So go ahead, talk. I'm just taking it in.
I'm just taking everything in.
Taking it all in. So, because men do listen. See, but they listen to everything we say, just like we should listen, but we're always talking. So here's the thing. We have this whole phenomenal, this whole book, this whole, movement with women in her story. And the women in her story literally was just sharing, how they have become healed. So that way another woman can then become healed. But here's the thing. What good is it if we're healed and our men are not? If we don't allow them the space to be. So if they're not healed, that's because you're not healed. And vice versa. It's the energy. It's the energy. It's the energy. What's going to attract to each other? It's going to be the opposite. So, I mean, we can go on a whole masterclass on that one, but that's not why we're here today. You can go to my link tree and you can come contact me, and then we can do that. And Steve probably we might have to do a masterclass on that, Steve, on energy, on the fields of energy, because it's can't make this stuff up, man. Can't make any of this stuff up. The stuff that's happening, it is divine order. It is divine order. It's magical. It's providence. It's all things that are in alignment. It's all in alignment. It's definitely in alignment because of the assignment that I know for a fact that I'm on, and I know that you're on as well. So that's why God has us all together at this time. All of you have been appointed. Every single last man in this book has been appointed. Anyone that I tried to say, oh, I want them in the book, I didn't get permission. And if I tried to force it, they're not in the book. But I never forced it. It's only literally. So when you guys get to read these kings that are in this book, just know that it's something special about every single last one of them. Every single last one of them have been that you think that they were doing something before. there's a reason why God had them be in this book, why God had them cross paths with me, because I've been hearing from multiple of the authors that this has been freeing, including you, Steve. I remember you made us. I heard you even say that getting this out, what you wrote, it's like your soul just revealed it. It was what your soul revealed. It wasn't what you thought you wanted to write. It was something that your soul needed to release. So you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, I think a lot of times we put on this facade. And the facade is to protect ourselves from the outside world, protect ourselves from evil women. I'm telling you, it's amazing. You watch the movies, you watch the TV shows, right? They could be the best friend that part of the trade. It could be a whole lot of different. That woman, right? That's the power. I read it a long time ago. Andrew Carnegie talked about how the woman can either make you or it could break you. They didn't say about a friend could make or break it. Not even a brother or a sister. Not even a parent. It's that woman. That it's something about that woman. That's why I think it was always meant to be a situation where we had that type of companionship and the areas of what they had their strengths versus our strengths and our challenges versus their challenges. It kind of causes it's almost like that magnet concept you were saying. So you want to be with the right one. You want to be with the right type of energy and the frequency because you want to be able to grow. I think a lot of times we are stagnant. We think we're growing, but we're not. We're actually decaying because we're not paying attention to the roots.
Mm.
See, the thing about it, when you look at the roots, you see the healthy standpoint of things. And what I mean by the roots is like, the inner spirit when it comes down to the growth and development. I understand we're physical beings, but we're spiritual beings as well. And that all has to be coexist and have to be intact. And I think at times when we're not our original self, the true to ourselves, we definitely don't really grow to where we need to be at. And I noticed even with me writing this chapter, and even in the books that I started reading, Active Belief, in your mind, you had to put your actual heart on print. And it's like you release that energy, even if it was that hurt, right? I transferred it to paper. And now the paper transferred it to other eyes, and now it can expand into the horizon of the world. But I don't feel that weight anymore.
Mm-hmm.
All I look at is that, man, that was an experience. I didn't really see that until you start to go ahead and write that thing out. That's why Jimmy, I always say I call it Jimmy like I know. Jimmy always said, like, one of your biggest prized treasures is your journals. Throughout writing your journals, you start to see your growth over the years. You start to see exactly what, like, man, my mind was like this 2 years ago. My mind was like this yesterday. My mind was like this a couple hours ago. Like, everything is always constantly changing. So to have that area of expertise that we have in, like, far as this chapter, we're able to really, I guess, tap in, like, man. So that's what I was thinking at that time.
Mm.
But look at me now. That should be like the next, statement. But look at me now, and look how this can help somebody else. Or you got people that's just in awe or shock, like, wait, they went through that, and they doing this now. If they can go through something like that, then I can go through something like this, and then I could be where I need to be at.
You know what? It's so funny you said that too, because writing the journals, like I had my whole book is Magnified Thoughts is basically my journals, right? So, but I don't know if I'm going to do it again because I did it yesterday was the day. On February 5th of 2022. I don't know what made me do it, but I did it. I wrote a letter to myself and told me not to, and I could not open it. And I specifically put 364 days later or something like that. I had a date to open it. I missed the date though. I was supposed to open on my birthday. But but the thing is, my birthday was only like 30 plus something days ago. But I wrote it on February 5th. That was yesterday. And I just opened it on the 4th. So I opened it basically a year later because I wrote it to my future self. You know how we talk about what would you tell your younger self? My younger self, it don't matter no more. what am I telling my future self? What am I? It don't matter about my younger self anymore. Because see, if I keep going back and looking back at my younger self, I can't look forward to my future self. I'm gonna always still look back and still hold on to, wow, yeah, I think if you would have known this, you would have been a whole lot. Carolyn, do you know? Okay, all right. Dang, really that happened? Woo, look at me now. Like you said, look at me now. And okay, so what's next? That's always my thing. What's next? Okay, like it's to the point where you have to wind up becoming. That's why I call myself a visionary, right? Literally a visionary, because I can see and I experience. This may sound really weird, but I'm gonna say it anyway. The future. So what I mean by that is that whenever you see anything that I may do, whether it's a book, whether it's a conference, whether it's anything. And a lot of times I don't even get like all antsed up. Okay, it's coming. Because I was already there. I already experienced it.
I always say that reality is too slow. Reality always have to catch up. My imagination goes at the speed of light.
Mm-hmm.
So you waiting for. Say, Jojo mentioned to me, I think it was a year ago, about the scripting thing, right? And I've been testing on like small stuff, and then I just, I did it with TEDx. I did it with, I actually did it with the parking spot at the skating rink on Friday. It was so packed, and there was so many cars, right? And it was so cold on Friday. And I didn't want Layla and my mom to have to walk all the way from there. So someone said, go to the front of the actual building. Meanwhile, it's packed, right? Someone's I pull up, the car is pulling out, I'm pulling in. It's like, I seen the secret. I seen the guy was talking about how he used to test it up with that and you grew from it. But I really said, look, and here, the thing about it, what I was going to do was just drop him off and I was going to walk. Drop off in front of us. See what I'm saying? I was going to sacrifice myself. Because I said, I'd rather freeze walking all the way through the parking lot than have my mom and my daughter freeze. And in the midst of that, somebody's pouring out. Could come right in. So scripting, I utilized it because I think somebody asked me when I mentioned it in the post about writing versus scripting. Scripting is putting myself in the placement of the actual thing ahead of time before it actually show up. Writing, you're writing the thing out, which I said, look, that's still good. For me, I'm like this. I don't see words. I see images. I'll say it again. I don't see words. I see images.
Yeah.
And what I do see, and it's funny, I tested out when I was to work for Ingram, right? Where he wanted me to see a direction of how to get there. I had to close my eyes to see. I don't use my eyes to see. I have to use my mind to see. So I close my eyes and picture myself there. I see that route. Yeah, I see it. Wait, the Burger King right on the right side. Oh, right there by the AutoZone. Yeah, I got it. And then I open my eyes and I'm ready to go. That's the same thing I see when it comes to board games, books, even my next moment, what I'm going to do. Even taking a note out of your book. Remember when you was at Barnes & Noble in Willow Grove, right? You started putting your book on the shelf, right? You started putting it there like it's going to be there type of thing. And here, this is the thing what I love right now. I was in servanthood in 2019 to a lot of things, right? I never approached you with the things that I had coming in the midst of things because it was your moment and your time. But I tell you, after you gave me the answer to that one question I asked you at that last minute before the Willow Grove question, it was like, and you don't know, I've been sitting on that question for a year. But as soon as you gave me that answer, I just took off. But I know that you have to know what is your timing. It's a time sometimes to serve. There's a time to actually leave.
Yeah. And
then it's a time that you get what you deserve after you serve. So look, if you didn't catch that, you better catch the flag on that one. Because the thing about it, a lot of times, most people have expectations without inspection of what they're expecting, and then they got to know to get mad. So when you inspect what you expect, you got to understand that it's going to happen. And once you serve all what you have been serving in their life, you'll get what you deserve. You only get what you deserve.
When you've been serving, it's all about service.
It's all about service.
It's all about service.
And look what you've been doing with the event. I mean, I was at that one at Sugar House. I mean, that's the one I remember. Man, all those
that's
people
the one you stalked.
there.
Hey, you guys, he stalked me. I'm just gonna let you. He was already there.
I jokingly say that, but what I was, I knew what I wanted. Most people don't know what they want. So then when they don't know what they want, it's like they don't have the direction. I knew I had to get to as many places with this invention to be out in the forefront because I did not know the pandemic was coming. I'm gonna say it again. I did not know the pandemic was coming. So 2019 had to be the year. Because I was dealing with a case, and it's funny. The lawyer was like this. Look, Steve, what is the Wanda rate? Even the lawyer called me up and because I was supposed to be low key, right? And I said, okay, but I was still in pain, but I got to get myself out there. And he was like, look, I just wanted, he called me out the blue. I'll never forget, I was eating pizza with my mom. We used to meet every Thursday at the pizza shop. He called me, Weinstein called me out of nowhere. He's like, Steve, things are going to go with the case, but one thing I got to ask you, what is the Wanda rate? And I'm like, what do you know about this? So you understand? There was no research on it, right? It was making sure, like, wait, so we get this monumental claim out to this man, but I'm glad I did not stop. I mean, the case still came through, still a nice little, but I'm glad I didn't stop because I did not know that the pandemic was coming. Had I not did all that legwork in 2019, Carla, we wouldn't be talking today.
Exactly. No, you're right.
For what? What I got to talk about? What I got to say? That's why I didn't want to speak first because I said I'd rather be the one that went through the wilderness first, right? That had the experience, and not just to go here and speak on just a story about myself. Don't forget about myself. The whole thing is I want to find out how I can attack you, and the reason why you would want to listen to me is because you've been there before. So I got you've been there before. It ain't like and I'm not shooting shots at nobody. Not like, 1 minute I want to be a speaker and I didn't do nothing. I never wanted to be that one where it was like, did you do anything? Again, you motivated me, everything like that. You pumped up. You did it. What did you do? So I don't know what wilderness you're in. I don't know who I'm talking to out there. I don't know what stage you're in. I don't know. I only know what season. Is it winter time? Yeah, I ain't gonna go through the whole motion. But I don't know what season that you're in. But just know that it's a reason, right? And you got to understand exactly what that moment, what it's going to be. Because I'm going to tell you, it's very short. See, look, winter, we didn't have a really tough winter in Philly, right? But what I'm saying, spring is around the corner, and spring is a short season. So if you're not planting right now, get to planting because harvest season is coming. Everybody's saying, this is my year, this is my year. This can't be a year if you're not planting. I'm going to say it again. Stop saying it's your year if you're not planting any seeds. Because Jimmy said it best. Because when harvest season comes, you do not want to complain, right? When harvest season comes, you don't want to complain if you have not been planting. So you got to ask yourself, have I been tilling the ground? Have I been fertilizing the actual soil? First of all, do I even have the soil to even fertilize my seed? First of all, do you even have a seed? I remember Jimmy always used to say, he was like this, that people complaining why the ground doesn't give it crop. It says the ground says to the person, like, don't bring your need without the seed. How you gonna bring your need to me and want me to go here and bear fruit, right? But you're not planting the seed. So the thing is, I want to ask you something. I'm gonna be like, look, have you been planting? And the thing about if you haven't planted and you haven't been watering, just know that the harvest season is coming. But everybody's season is different. You just gotta know where you at. You just gotta know where you at, right? And that's how you get yourself to the next level. See, people always looking for the secret of success. There's no secret. There's no secret to success. What it is that success do be clues based on what you see and how you do it. And I like that. Success is too based on what you see and how you do it. You don't have to coin that. Hey, Carol, you gotta be coining this stuff, man.
Trust and believe. Trust and believe. Let's trust and believe. It's recorded. It's like just go to YouTube. It's right there. It's right there. You're always gonna get it. Always be able to get it. And I know you're gonna get your little clip. You're gonna get your clip of that. I know. Look, I had to make sure it was branded. Look.
Yeah. I got you.
Listen. So I mean, we could always talk forever and forever, but we gotta be respectful of time. But I see Sir Charles jumped in. That's one of our authors, your brethrens, and also Julian. And I want to share what Julian stated. He said, listen, he said sharing his story definitely helped him overcome a lot of his fears. He said, I am him. So I am him. Him being honorable, intelligent, matured, but you can't get to that point unless you have become her. Yeah, because it's some introspective work that you must do, that's required for you to do in order for you to reach that level of where God wants to take you. And then once you're able to release and let those things go, then it's like the door, instead of probably say, don't, we're not just opening the door, not even kicking the door open. That thing is flying off the hinges. It's like just flying. And then everything is like you just get directed. You ever go through the car, you know, little wonky donk carnival, and they have the little crazy ride, and you sit in it, and it's like supposed to be the little I guess the haunted house or the fun house or whatever, and you're in the car, and it's like spins you around, and then you know you go through you think you're going to go through the door, and then all of a sudden it turns all of a sudden, right? Because you're like, no, you're not supposed to go there. You think you're going that way, but it's like, nope, you're going this way. It's going to guide you. And then you're like, you're like scared, and you're upset, and you're laughing, and you're like, what's going on? And then it may stop and it gets stuck, but it's going to get you out. You just have to trust the process. You're on the right track. One repeat, you're on the right track. No matter what jumps out at you, no matter what's in this fun house that we're in, right? And you know, there's some stuff in there that's going to come in there and jump at you, and it's going to distract you. That was one of my prayers today. It was about distraction. Just know God got your back. Whoever you serve has your back. Let me repeat. Whoever you serve for good has your back. Because you can serve multiple things, right? So whomever your higher power is, as long as it's for good, right, is going to allow you to move in a direction that you are supposed to go, that's destined just for you. Everything has its time and its place. Like there's downloads that come, just like I know, Steve, you get it too. That's why you got that board behind you. There's downloads. That's why I got umpteen thousand books. Half the time I gotta say, which book did I write that note in? Shoot, sometimes it's on stick, sometimes it's on paper. Shoot, sometimes it's on receipts. Sometimes it's on my hand. It's like, oh, wait a minute, stop. Wait. Because when it comes out, it has to come out. I have to write it down. Because I said, oh, I'll remember. I have to write it down. That's how her came about, because it was something I wrote down. Now, just because I wrote it down, because you write the vision, you make it plain. This is true. This is so true. But not believing in what you wrote down means you have little faith, because you're afraid. You have fear. God did not give us fear. So therefore, now you have to believe. You have to have a now faith. Believe it now. Believe in the things unseen. Believe in the things unseen. I did not foresee a her story 2, a him story, shoot, a good life. Let me back it up. A magnified thoughts. I didn't anticipate any of that. But what I knew is that whatever I was doing in that moment of serving, right, with my power hour, with that that thing right there, right, the power hour, that's like legendary in itself, right? Just by serving. And that serving was because of my pain. I needed something to distract me from what I was going through. And it was in service, right? Because like the Q's have a thing says, you know, friendship is essential to their soul. And I was saying that, you know, the give back was essential to mine. So giving back to others fueled my soul. And by me giving to others allowed me to then share and tell my story. And then by me sharing and telling my story allowed me to continue to share it. Because every time you share it, every time you use your voice, you're amplifying it into the universe. And that's for good, depending on what's coming out of your mouth, right? So as long as you're putting out things that are going to propel you, as long as you're going to put things out there that are going to put you in the right state, as Tony Robbins says, your state, right? Like I just had a conversation with my daughter this morning about, you know, she didn't feel like getting up this morning to go to school. And I'm like, yeah, that happens. I said, so we had a conversation. I said, you know, she was like, well, I'm not feeling good. And I said, she's like, I'm feeling like this on Friday and this over the weekend. Now you saw the video. She said she felt like that on Sunday, but we was out there like, what? On Sunday. So I get it, because trust me, sometimes I feel like that. I'm like, I don't feel like it today. But you got to find something. There's something that we don't feel like doing all the time, but you have to find that something, that switch, that something to activate you to at least get it charged just a little bit. You ever have a battery that died in your car? It just needs a little bit of amps, just a little bit. It just needs a spark. It just needs a little, so it can crank a little bit. Then what do they tell you to do? Let it run for a little bit, because it got to get charged up, because it's on. That's how we are when we don't feel like doing stuff. We're on, but we're moving, but it's like, got to give it time. And then they'll tell you, okay, drive on it. It means you got to move, drive on it. As you're driving, it will what? It will charge. I don't think they got that, Steve. As you're driving, as you're moving, as you're activating the thing that you wrote down, the gift that you have, the idea that you have, and you're propelling and you're moving forward. As you're moving forward, it's charging and getting stronger, and it's taking you further. I don't think they still heard that, because it's too quiet. If you understand you got something that's in you right now that needs to be charged, I want you to put in the chat, charging. I'm charged. I want you to put I'm charged, because here's the thing. You have to speak that into the atmosphere. You have to speak that into your life, because if you sit there and you say, I don't feel like it, you just wrote that to the universe. You don't feel like it? Okay, then everything I had for you today, then you don't feel like it. I was about to bless you with $1 million, but you don't feel like it. I was about to bless you with that job you was looking for, but you don't feel like it. I was about to bless you with that mate you were looking for, but guess what? You don't feel like it. I was about to bless. See, but I forgot. You said you don't feel like it. So what do you feel like? I still don't see nobody charged. So then when you look back, when I got to tell my younger self, and my younger self is yesterday, because I was younger yesterday. Like, I don't have to go back to my 8-year-old self. I can go back to my, what time is it? 9:34 self, my 9:34 self. Woo, you said a message then. So what we going to say at 9:36? Right? So that's what you have to speak into existence. You have to speak it and own it and accept it. And anytime you have something that wants to come in and creep and tell you and think otherwise, you have to negate it, because you are writing your own check. You are writing your own laws. You are writing your own destiny. It's like the contract is already done. All you got to do is sign it. God already has the contracts already. Everything, everything that's there, everything that's in the little tiny A subpart 1, 2, 3 decimation point. Like, if anybody looked at contracts, and then contracts, they're long, and it's like all these subparts and categories and this, and you got to really read through every single thing, because it's all laid out. It's all laid out and ready for you, but there's steps. But you have to agree to it. You have to do the CAPTCHA. You got to make sure that you're real. Are you real? Are you really ready for this? See, that's why you got to do the CAPTCHA, because are you ready for this? Can you really match this stuff up? Are you ready to take this next step? Because if you're not ready to make this next step, you can't even match the stuff up. You can't validate yourself. Then I'm not going to let you in. I'm not going to let you access. I'm not going to give you access to what I have for you, because remember, you don't feel like it. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave, because I feel like we about to go into a whole nother sermon on that one. That's some drop the mic stuff right there. I can't wait to get clips of that, because when are you gonna feel like it?
I got you.
Yeah, when are you gonna feel like it? So I don't know who I'm talking to, but listen, okay, we got an amen, we got yes, so we got I'm charged. So yes, I see them charged. Just continue to be charged. Continue to be charged. Well, we got another brother that came in. Go ahead, Martine from Peru. Yes, this is going to be our year. Proud, yes, fellow brethren, the brethren. See, they came up with that name. I didn't see how the energy. See, the brethren. They're the brethren, right? Loving it, loving it, loving it, loving it. Charging, charge. Just continue to be charged. Plug in. Just always stay plugged in. Stay plugged
Watch out
in.
what charger you use to charge. Because every charger doesn't work the same. The analogy I used to use before, this is a true story. Now you get the Samsung charger for the phone that comes with Samsung, and then you want to go cheap to Five Below and do it, and you want that same kick, the same fast charging option. It doesn't charge. Actually, it takes away the power from it. Become a dynamo. When you become a dynamo, that's a generator that you don't need to be charged because everything that you have designed for you is going to always keep you fueled. Action is that biggest key to thing. Why? Because it changes the state of the mind. You have to put the action. That's why I call it Act and Grow Believe, not Think and Grow Believe. We already have a Think and Grow Rich, which is great by Napoleon Hill. But if you notice in those stories that those people, they was already charged on a different level to be able to think and grow rich. We got some people out here, you know what? You can write that idea, but I don't need you to think no more as you write that idea. I need you to get to work. No, because if I get you thinking, you're going to take yourself out of that idea in the first place. So no, you write it down. It's time to get to work. And I bet you when you start moving, the body has to obey. I'm saying it again, when you start moving, the body has to obey. The state of the mind has changed now. Thing is like, are you really charging with the right charger? Or are you not charging with the right charger? That's the question.
That's the question. Ooh, yeah, because you're right. Because I have I have my one specific charger, the charger that's made for the phone, not the off-brand market. When I use an off-brand charger, it's like, But when I use the one that's made specifically for this phone, it says turbo, and my phone charges like that, like instantly.
So let's take it a little bit deeper. I didn't want to go this way, but I'm gonna have to do it right now. So let's say the adapter of the charging mechanism for somebody's life is what God has given them for us is their purpose, right? So that's the charge of that. But right now, the reason why they're not really charged is because once again, as I said in the very beginning, they are putting themselves or accessing their time here on this earth and somebody else's purpose, and that's why they're not being charged because you're doing something that you was not designed to do. So since that product of what God has given you is not being activated from the source of where it's supposed to be coming from because you're trying to use somebody else's gift, then what happens from that is that you will never have the impact of really understanding the purpose of your life. So now that's one of the things that, things that make you go, let me think for a second. I mentioned that story before about the guy that was so eager to get through life, he climbed up this ladder. As soon as he got to the top of the roof of the actual building, he realized he was on the wrong building. It took him years to climb up that. You don't want to be in that situation that you were like, wait, I was doing something for 30 plus years, and that wasn't something I was supposed to be doing in the first place.
Wow. You know what? I'm seeing our sister Melissa Montero. I got to give her a shout out. She's like, hey, she's like, amen. So I need you to know that name, Steve, because you're not in. See, here's the thing. This is how this thing works, right? This is the energetic flow. When you're in service, you're in Barnes and Nobles because I was in Barnes and Nobles, right? I was in Barnes and Nobles because of this sis right here. So you owe her gratitude because if it wasn't for her, him, see what I'm saying, y'all? Her needs him needs her. It's all together. Okay, all right. So remember that name, remember that face. She has a whole organization. You might want to be on her podcast. She has collaboration over competition because we're never in competition. It's about collaborating. When you have that mindset of doing so, because when you understand your gift, when you understand your charger, like don't sit there and try to put an iPhone charger to an Android. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Or don't try to plug, the old, the standard, USB cord to the C type. There's different connections for a reason. Every plug has its own thing for it. Now, you can get one of those super things that has all the different, so you can always be ready. Okay, I'm going to be ready so I can plug up to whichever one is available. But when you stay focused and you stay plugged into what God has given you, you have no choice but to allow it to charge and to allow it to be at its fullest. At its fullest. See, just like with our phones, see, we can use all these analogies. When you got an app running in the background, like I got one that I can't find where it's at, that's something that I'm not supposed to be in. Just like a gift of something I'm not supposed to be doing is taking up my energy. So I can't focus on what I need to because I'm running an app behind the scenes that I shouldn't even be in. So we just drop y'all a whole bunch of nuggets. Like, we get paid for this, but this is service. But this is service. So listen, Steve, listen. I could talk to you forever, ever. But I want to tell them one more time where they can go. They can go to bit.ly/HIMStory anthology to go get this book right now for 99 cents. It's less than the dollar store. The dollar's $1.25 now. I don't even know why they still call it the dollar store. It's $1.25 no matter where you go. So listen, what that's going to do, that's going to help all of these kings who literally poured their souls out. And I'm gonna tell you, it's been a challenge, and we're gonna talk to them this weekend when we celebrate them, when we celebrate them for accomplishing such great feats. We are having a book launch, as you see it right there, on the 11th and the 12th. So on the 11th, it's at 4:30 p.m. on Saturday. That way you still get to do your running around on Saturday. And then on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, we're going to do it 10:30 in the morning, get it out the way so we can get ready. Woo, go Eagles. So, so listen. Make sure you get that because we are on the quest to become #1 bestsellers. We have already reached it in multiple categories. Number 3, let's get them to #1. Here's the book once again, HIMStory, Honorable, Intelligent, Matured, featuring this king right here, none other than Steve, the Legacy. You need something that says that. Maybe talk to CL or have him make you something, right? You need your own, you need your own intro. Steve, the Legacy. With your own special beat. Hey, listen, I'm just trying. That's the next part. That's the next stage. So anything you want to leave them with, where they can find you, all that good stuff, let them know.
You can find me at StephenLegacy.com. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Definitely, Carol, thank you for this opportunity. I mean, from the gate, I remember when I first was ready to want to speak. So one thing, you got to have somebody like Carolyn in your life because you got some people you can talk to and we can talk about it, or we actually want to do it. When I told Carolyn I wanted to speak, she said, all right, cool. You want to speak at the other time? I just said, oh, always got to be ready. That's one thing I learned. Always got to be ready. Even when you're not ready, you got to be ready, right?
So be ever so ready. Be ever so, even that time when you, and I said balance, because you were like, oh man. I said, no. Baby girl had a birthday party. I said, there'll be other times. And little did we know that time we had was right before everything shut down. And that was the entry point, because I believe that was your kicker. And that's what led you from the library to the TEDx stage. I'm just saying, listen, keep doing what you're doing. Love you. And I'll see you, how we say, I'll see you on the other side. But stay backstage. I'm going to come back to you in a second. I'm going to just close this out. All right. So you guys, listen. Like I said, this has been such an amazing journey. And we still have a few more days before we have our kickoff, and the book is available and ready for you to just partake and see what these men have really shared, their souls, their hearts, their everything with you. I'm just so proud of all of them, right? You have no idea how proud I am of them for first and foremost trusting me, and I didn't get to tell Steve that too, for trusting me with such intimate information that's going to, once again, it's going to help another man who's going to pick up this book and they're going to say, okay, because maybe they didn't have a father figure or a male in their life. Or if they did, maybe it was short-lived because of whatever, maybe, of their demise, or maybe they left, or they just were never there, right? So then it leaves a void for him growing up. And so then that void, because he had that void, we have that void. So this is all about just making us whole once again as a community, as this kind of combination of this, like I said, feminine and masculine, our energy, and just really, really, really celebrating these kings and allowing them this opportunity to be seen, heard, and respected. So I want to thank all of you guys for joining us tonight and watching on this replay. Listen, make sure you go. You see all this right here, the ticker. Both of them will take you there. You can get the book for 99 cents. You can also join us for the book launch on Saturday and Sunday, this coming up this week. Tell a friend, share it. It's 99 cents. Listen, what it's going to do is going to help them get to number one. We need them to be a number one. They have already are bestsellers. Yes, they're already bestsellers in multiple categories, but there's nothing. He said he ran cross country. I ran track. There's nothing like number one, just like the Eagles are going to be number one on Sunday. So I thank you guys. Have a wonderful evening, and remember to be empowered. Be inspired, and most importantly, the last thing that I always like to tell you guys, just be magnified. I see you guys. Take care. Bye.